the exploitation of Africa by white imperialists. Don't talk about them black African rulers and their families living rich, while the common people starve and die in the streets from disease or from violence inflicted on them by well-fed army peoples. While over there, we could be killed by some of them just for talking about what we is saying now. Nah, I'm American, and I'll die American. A Yankee dude through and through.
You don't even know how to use a gun. I agree that segregation don't work. I remember 2 years ago what the great thing the Robert Taylor Homes was going to be for housing for all low-income people, but only the Negroes ended up living there. And now, words coming out about the daily breakdown of the elevator, the vandalism, and worse, isolated good people. There are also victims of growing violence and gangs. It's a shame. Nobody cares because whites don't live there in numbers enough to create outrage at those conditions.
See, all that shows again how smart I was to do what I did. No matter how much the lenders in the world hate us, ain't nobody gonna throw any bricks at our windows. Cowards like him don't want to get caught.
Yesterday, when Liz first started getting sick, I drove myself to the supermarket, and while I was in line, ahead of me was this overdressed woman. She was heavy on the makeup, the showgirl type, you know. She was pushing a cart full of groceries, and with her was that Dr. Emerson Johnston. I remember him, and by the way, he treated that woman. She must have been an employee of some kind.
Yeah. What did he have to say? I bet you that woman was one of his floozies. Information is he and other members of his private subculture of elite bourgeois Negroes hang out socially together. They have wild parties at his private club where anything goes and where they can get away with murder at.
I never knew that. Nobody ever mentioned that to me, or any of that stuff about Emerson, or anything about a club.
He was all blurry-eyed looking and talking weird and said something about the hospital staff talked all the time about T's family and their problem stuff of none of that of your own family knew that you were having. He says while you were there, he'll be coming by to see if to check on you to see if you needed anything. I told him that would be up to you.
People ask questions, but I never answer. I have not discussed it with or my daughter with Emerson or anyone else. And I didn't even know about them other women. If what you say is true, I have to agree. It would seem that there have been some inappropriate things being discussed. I've been needing to talk to Dr. Johnson. Be quiet. Here come the girls. Well, don't you two look marvelous? More like sisters than cousins. Well, come on, girls. We might as well be on our way now.
Tiara, give me a chance to at least talk to you. I love you. We're family. Perhaps I will stay in America.
Very well. Maybe I have been a little unreasonable. We can talk while the girls shop. There's no sense in driving 2 cars. We can ride with you to it. Angeline, I want you and Suzette to have a good time. Play, but give the grown-ups some time to talk between themselves. In fact, if it's permitted, and if there's enough room, I might join the 4 of you myself. A little air might be good for me. In DeWitt's cab, there is plenty of room. Do come with us, Mama. I'll need to go upstairs, get my tweed coat, my scarf, and bag. Angeline and Suzette, come with your mamas. I'm going to need your help. This time we'll all take the elevator.
Oh, you go. Now we alone. We got to talk low. They can hear a pin drop, especially Mama. You see, I couldn't talk plainly before D.
Why not?
The women, they don't need to know what I got to talk to you about. It's the men who needs to know what affects the whole family. I can't tell you everything, D. Not right now. You have to come by my store later when I close up. And if you can, before you come, you might find that Francis. He'll be at that private club Emerson Johnson's hangout. Tell him I have reconsidered. I will pay him what he wants to work on that project we discussed yesterday. Johnson got Francis convinced he working for the good of poor people when him only looking out for himself.
Yes, Francis, for all his pretensions of sophistication, is quite naive. And I might also use this occasion to ask Dr. Johnson why he's publicly discussing my wife, the mother of my child. As for Francis, I'll do what I can, but you know your son.
Yeah, I know Francis. Better than he thinks I know him. You just tell him, but be careful with Johnson. He keeps some tough guys around. They all treat Francis like he's their gopher. Francis don't know the scoundrel he is, trying to make a hoe out of his auntie. Here comes the women. Now don't you forget.
But Mama, all those beautiful clothes you got, why won't you wear them? 'Cause I feel silly in them. That stuff you children gave me, this outfit will do. Tiara, I ain't trying to win no beauty contest, daughter.
You, Mrs. Godfrey, are forever beautiful. Simply because your raiment is always natural, garments of extraneous glitter would only detract from you.
When you talk like that, Dee, I never can understand but half of what you say. Except the parts I think I understand I like. Now, let's be going, y'all.
Lawrence, it seems we have the house all alone to ourselves. It's a good chance for us to talk and ask. I want to ask you something. Why has it been since last year we slept together? What's wrong? Lawrence, don't ignore me. I mean it. What's wrong between us? You have got another woman?
No, I have not got another woman. Never since we've been married have I strayed that away, or even been tempted. I don't know, Esther. I just lost all my feelings for you that way. I told you to find a friend. I'll understand.
You, enough. I don't need no more problems. It don't make no sense. You sleeping in the other room with the door on your side locked. I don't know what's got broke. But, I want to fix it. You're still my husband and I love you.
Yeah, we've been together since we was kids. You gave up a lot of your dreams to be with me. I remember how you always wanted to be a dancer. My love, my darling. Get away from me, woman! I gotta go!
Later that night, Lawrence was closing his store.
Glad you could make it, Francis. Like I told DeWitt earlier, the reason I asked you here is because the things I need to say, you don't need to be discussed in front of our women.
Quite the chauvinist, aren't we?
No, like my father. I don't want my wife or daughter upset and fearful. I'd rather talk to you fellows than them.
Well, I don't willingly care to hear nothing you have to say, Lawrence, or your lunatic flunky helper here. Let's just talk about you paying me that money. I only came because Uncle DeWitt found me at the club to tell me you were willing to see things my way about the money.
How'd you get the black eye? Who tore up your clothes?
Oh, is that noticeable? Uncle D and Emerson had some words about Auntie T, and Johnston made some obscene jokes about Auntie T, and Uncle D knocked him down. Then Johnston's goons attacked Uncle DeWitt. I couldn't just stand by and not help my uncle. We both got kicked out, but not without doling out extensive physical pain and much property damage. I didn't know Uncle D could fight like that.
I was a full-fledged warrior of my village at age 13. Lawrence, can you please hurry and tell me what you have to say? I think Tiara and I are going to reconcile tonight. Your mother will watch Suzette so we can have some privacy at our house.
Lawrence, did they come back?
They? What are you talking about? Who are they? Lawrence, what's going on?
Like my father, I take care of my own business. I just do it different. I got a visit yesterday from some white hoods demanding protection money on all my enterprises.
What happened?
I was here, saw them pointing a gun at Lawrence, but he whipped out that pistol you searched him for, but can't nobody ever find. And he shot one of the hoods before he could throw his gun. Then he had me get word to his friend Ed in New York. Next thing I know, police everywhere. And all the time before, Lawrence had to drop on the other one. They took our report and...
You mean the police? They took the word of a black man against white? Uncle Ed has that kind of juice?
He must do, 'cause it was the downtown boys who got here first and was calling all the shots.
I don't think we'll be having much trouble anymore. Now they know how well connected I am.
What makes you so sure? Organized crime's favorite targets are businesses like Jack Straw Liquor. You own a building in the upscale part of town containing a cinematic complex. You're about to open a mall. You've got offices and showrooms there rented by vendors. I'd say you qualify for the attention of criminals.
Not from the street gangs. They might work for the big boys sometimes, but most times they work for themselves. Lawrence is like the TWO. He quietly helps families of most of the gangs. People black and white love him. That's why the word on the street to the mob fellas is to leave Lawrence Godfrey alone.
Since when? I find that hard to believe. I've never known Lawrence to help anyone except himself without there being a catch to it.
There's a lot you don't know about me, Francis. But be that as it may, inside this here manila envelope I'm handing you are papers of my newly proposed business plan that I want you, Francis, to use that talent of yours to review. Offer whatever ideas you think might improve on anything. And here's the money I promised. Now you can leave. Did y'all see that? Just up and without a word took my money and left. No thank you. Gotta give it to him though. He's consistent. Now DeWitt, this here envelope is for you. You know DeWitt, we may not always agree on a lot of things, but we both agree about our love for our families. To me, your wife and daughter, and you are my family too.
Quit conning me, Lawrence. I know when you want something. I know what you really think of me. You've never let me forget how you heard me call you stupid when I first proposed to your,
Yeah, it was at the old house, right after Pepe duped me for that money. You didn't know I overheard you calling me stupid as the reason why my family ought to forgive me.
And you turned the tables and became a financial success, while I'm a failure.
Don't beat yourself up. Money is what stops most black people. I was lucky enough to meet a fair, rare, rich white man who made sure I had the money and connections to protect me in order to be a success. Besides, I truly mean it. I have learned to admire you for your common sense, except when it comes to my scatterbrained sister, who, by the way, makes you sell out your manhood daily. Otherwise, you have a good judgment. Them papers I just gave you upon your signature will make you the trustee of my estate.
What? Why pick me?
Mainly because Francis is not ready. Maybe he'll never be ready. And Mama and Esther don't get business. If times get tough, I like to know you were around running things, even if you and my sister ain't together no more.
Again, why? I thought you said the gangsters were going to leave you alone.